I'm Alexa Fischer, and this is the Wishbeads podcast, and I am so delighted to bring my friend, and I guess colleague, Carol Cropp of GirlUp. GirlUp is an amazing organization. We'll get to that. But what excites me so much is that many times I get the opportunity to hear somebody's, yay, my wish came true story. And the Wishbeads podcast is about sharing people's journeys, how it worked for them, what happened. And so Carol has an awesome story that I am so excited to share with you today. So thanks for watching. And Carol, thanks for making the time.
Thrilled to do this. I'm thrilled to talk with you as always.
Aw. Well, we had the pleasure of knowing each other for actually a long time. Prior to Wishbeads, I was doing executive coaching around communication strategies, and we worked together at your previous job. And so, you know, without a big lead up or whatever, Carol, what is the story? What happened from the time that you got some Wishbeads in your hand to now?
Well, I got to tell you, when I knew that you were launching Wishbeads, and I'm a big follower and fan of everything you do, I said, oh, I want to get those Wishbeads, and I'll order those. And I did, and I got my box with a cute little note from you on it, and then it sat on my kitchen counter for several months because I knew, based on our previous work together, that when I made a wish, I had to make sure I really wanted it to come true.
Yes. And just to clarify, that first product that I launched on, I guess it was Kickstarter, because I think you were an early fan and customer, is the kit that you make your paper bead. Yes, exactly. Your paper bead version. And I like it
very well, but that's okay.
No, it looks fantastic. And I'll tell you, you know, I mean, it's a deep dive. It's like a vision board you wear on your wrist. But anyway, so the kit comes in the mail and it has all the ingredients you need.
It has all the ingredients, and I look at it and I think, okay, but this wish is so important. I want to get it right. And so I just kind of percolated on it for quite a while. And on a Saturday morning, I said, okay, I'm ready to make my wish. And as I said, we met when I was at a previous employer, and I had so many different things going on in my life. I knew that eventually I was going to be moving to Washington, D.C. I was also going to marry my long-time love. He and I have been talking about that forever. And I thought this, you know, I might as well be transitioning to a job that I'm really passionate about. And what had been working on my heart for a long time was teenage girls, and what's such an important time in a person's life, you know, those teenage years. And I had found GirlUp as an organization that I was supporting. I was donating. I was, you know, they were on my radar, and I kept finding myself in these, oh, wow, that would be a great idea for GirlUp. Oh, that would be another good idea for GirlUp. And I be working for GirlUp. And so I sat down and worked on my vision. And I said, and again, this involved a move, a marriage, a job change, the whole kit and caboodle.
You wanted the whole package.
I wanted the whole package. And I kind of said, like, on this morning when I wake up, I will be, you know, living in DC, married man. We weren't married yet. And I'm going to take the metro, and I'm going to wear my gray dress, and I'm going to go to this office at the United Nations Foundation that houses GirlUp, and go to my desk, and, you know, that'll be my dream. That'll be my dream job.
And that was that moment that you visualized, that you actually saw. That was the moment
I visualized. I knew what I was wearing. I knew how, you know, my mode of transportation. I knew what job I was going to, and I wrote it in just such detail. And did the exercise and made the bracelet and wore it faithfully. I put this on today, but it's a little worn. It didn't happen overnight, but later, as it did happen, I remember calling you to say, I'm wearing the gray dress. Like this, I'm here at my job and I'm wearing the gray dress, which was just one of those, you know, okay, if you're going to make the wish, you got to be ready for it to happen. And maybe in the exact details you thought about or not. Yeah. In my case, it was.
Yeah, so I'm just like tiny detail. Did you own the gray dress beforehand, or did you buy
it? It was my favorite gray dress.
It was your favorite gray dress.
It was my favorite gray dress.
I love that. 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 And, you know, oh gosh, there's so many things. There's so many things I want to talk about. The first one is this idea of, you know, when I was introducing Wishbeads to groups, and I was doing wish circles, gathering women together to do the paper bead version and leading them through the experience. There was something that came up, and I think it does come up for people, and I kind of house it under this idea of perfectionism. And so guilty as charged right here, me too.
Right.
But when you sit down to make something, I have had the privilege, as you well know, of doing wish beads with like thousands of girls, teenage girls or younger. And they don't have that. They really don't have that feeling of like, am I doing this right? Or can I do this right? Or what if I do it wrong? They're much more willing to just dive in and just do it. And when I worked with women, and it was this idea of like, am I going to do this right? Or is it the right time? Or am I going to have the perfect wish? And I so applaud you that even by yourself, you said you percolated on it, which is totally fine. But then you overcame that idea that you could make time for yourself and then just give it a shot. Just give it a shot.
Right. Right.
And so what did you, like, what was the trick for you? What was the moment that you did actually carve out the time? Was it coming off of a rough week where you're like, I got to change my life? Or was it coming off of an exciting thing where your future love was like, your future husband was like, when are we going to actually do this? Like, do you remember what the spark was that made you actually sit down and do it?
I think it was a combination of things. I was like, okay, I know I am going to be making this move, but what does that really mean for me? And what do I really want it to mean for me? Again, I knew I was going to end up living in DC. That part wasn't part of the wish had already come true, if you will. Like that was in the works. But when I started to say, wait a minute, if I'm going to continue to work for several years, I'm definitely not ready to retire. I make it really matter. And how can I use my background? I've been in sales and marketing all my life. I always said my only job was to make friends and ask for money. How could I apply that for something I'm so passionate about?
Yeah.
And when I started to say, if I can, it was really the words I kept saying over and over again is, I'm going to align my career with my values. And
can we just wait, we got to repeat that. I'm going to align my career with my values. And wow, I love that. I just want to highlight that because a lot of times I'm hearing a lot of my students and in my world, we're all talking about like, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? What should how can I make meaning of my life? And I love just this idea of alignment. Like, what lights you up? What do you find yourself drawn to? That was another thing I wanted to tap on. Like this idea that you chose in your free time to like check in with this organization because you genuinely loved what they were up to. And this idea that the two areas can cross and you can have that career shift that is complementary, building on this previous chapter of your life, your previous work life, but then align it with your values, I think is wonderful advice for people listening.
Yeah, it really was almost that part almost just hit me over the head. Like, wait a minute, all day, every day. If I'm spending, I have slight workaholic tendencies. So if I'm going to continue to work like a crazy person, it has to be something that I'm passionate about. And that was really the impetus.
Yeah, I love that. No, I absolutely love that. And let me ask you just to go a little bit more specifically, when you were writing and seeing yourself at the GirlUp headquarters, had you already officially applied? Like which one came first?
Oh no, I hadn't applied. I knew I had made my short list of organizations once I got to Washington, DC, and I knew I wanted to work in international and I wanted to work in girls, helping impact girls. Then I made a very short list of organizations. And when I moved here, I had more coffee. I had jittery coffee at that point because I would say to each person, here's what I want to do. Who do you know that can help me get there?
Oh, okay.
I was very intentional about just telling, once I'd written it down, and really writing it down was a big motivator for me because then suddenly I'm like, I got to make this happen. I committed to writing this down. I started just networking and saying, here's where I would like to go. Here's the top places I would like to go. Who do you know that can introduce me there? And I did. I networked my way to meet the CEO of United Nations Foundation, which is that houses GirlUp. So it was just, I did. I met her and I met several other people. and said, this is what I want. This is what I want. And it was
wow.
empowering to be able to ask for what I wanted. You know, I was not,
yes.
I didn't need anyone's permission. It was like, okay, I'm on this journey now, and here's what I want. Can you help me get there? And so many angels helped me along the way. It was just some amazing people.
I love it.
I'd be still sitting at the coffee shop, and they're emailing their friends like, hey, I just met this lady, Carol, you need to meet her. And I'm thinking, okay, this is working.
Yeah. And there's something I just absolutely love. And I would love to really invite everybody to really understand that there is this parallel phenomenon where the specificity of this order that you're giving to the universe, this like moment in time that you see that it feels so right. It goes back to this inner knowing, your intuition, your capability of seeing. And by writing it down, and I talk about this in my book, Wishwork, it's as if a waiter, the universe is a waiter or waitress taking your order, and you just write out exactly what you want. That will satisfy you in the same way that you order what you want to eat from a restaurant to satisfy that hunger. You see it and you write it down, details, details, details. And then in one way, you let the universe do the heavy lifting. You stay in gratitude for the people that show up at just the right time. You feel that energy of alignment of someone shooting off the perfect email at just the right time to catch the person just in the right moment when the opportunity happens. And yet, in the same parallel way, so that's your intentional work, in the same parallel way, you have to do action. You actually have to have the meetings. You have to send off an email to make the ask, to do the gentle action, to keep your eyes up, to keep yourself open to the signs and symbols, but also just be brave and know that you deserve that wish to come true, and that it does take some effort and some tenacity, but it doesn't take efforting from the kind of point of like clenched fist, like I got to make this happen, because I've lived in that energy before. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting.
And it's not coming from a place of trust. And I know I'm going to butcher this. I don't know if it was Deepak Chopra or someone said that just the act of receiving comes with an open hand, a relaxed hand. I totally butchered that quote, but it's the gist. I don't even really know who it's from. But that's, you know?
And, you know, one of the things, it's so interesting. I start my day every day with a little gratitude journal that just
perfect
place of saying, I have so many things to be grateful for. One of the things I write down a lot now that I'm in this position is the amazing girls of GirlUp.
Yes.
GirlUp does leadership development for girls worldwide. And these girls, when I spend time with them, they give me so much energy and so much hope for the future, because the youth, the future is in young people. And it's just one of the many things that I'm just so grateful for. Not only was I intentionally setting out to do what I wanted, but to have the opportunity to impact others and be open to receiving the energy that comes from those amazing young ladies, because they are the future, and that's so exciting.
Yeah, and I just have to say, as someone who's also a fan of GirlUp and a fan of you, is that it's such a gift to a nonprofit, even as a nonprofit as big as GirlUp, that you're bringing your years of corporate, like major international corporate expertise in the world of marketing and strategy and execution to the nonprofit space, because there is this beautiful synergy. And I also like the idea, and have been reflecting on this idea of chapters, that we have different chapters of our life, and that one chapter builds on another chapter. So sometimes I find my customers or my students or what have you, they're really going, well, I don't know what to do now, or am I doing the right thing? Or I know in my own journey, when I was transitioning from an actress to then go into teaching and coaching and online course creation and stuff, there was like another little judgy voice that's like, geez, if I go really focus on this, will it look like that I'm like a failed actress, or that I wasted my time? Like this really like judgy, bleh. And now I see so beautifully how the chapter of acting then combined with the chapter of teaching and coaching and professional and personal development work that completely was the perfect setup to now do this chapter, which is Wishbeads,
Right.
which is all feeding. So then I sit back and say, whoa, what's next?
What's next? Exactly. That's kind of my thinking too. I can't wait what comes next, and I'm excited about it. So
Yeah.
I think
It's so cool.
one of the advice that we give to the girls is they all want to know tell me about your career and how did you get from point A to point B to point C? And the answer is it's not a line. It's a curvy road, right? It's not your career doesn't go like this, and it's not like our parents who might have had one job for 30 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different roads to take, and I think young people are very open to that, and it's exciting. But they're like, I'm like, oh no, it's a journey and it's a curvy road, but it's beautiful, and I do believe all those curves are there for a reason.
Oh, they're totally there for a reason. If we didn't have the resistance, if we didn't have the obstacles, if we didn't have the questions and the deep work, we wouldn't reap the rewards, right? If you were just perfectly content in your previous iteration, then GirlUp wouldn't be able to have you now. And, and I think that there's an ease and a playfulness and a spirit of curiosity and learning that would be wonderful to share with those girls as well. Because I do think that we have this society which looks and projects this image like you can do it all, you can have it all, and right. So and look great and healthy at the same time and be macro whatever and all this and photograph yourself and whatever, and it's a lot of pressure. That's what I'm sensing when I do my work with teens and I speak with young people. There is this feeling of overwhelm, like how on earth am I going to do it all? How am I expected to have like this successful career, but oh yes, also have kids, and oh yes, be there for them, and also like give back to the world, and it's a lot.
Right? Yeah, it is a lot, and you're right. It is kind of the myth, the having it all myth that is served up, and it takes a long time, I think, for people, for at least for me, to be able to say, wait a minute, my all is not your all, is not someone else's all, and there is no time. You have to make the time for the things you want, and it's not like I'm going to give you this day that you're going to go do all those things you're going to do one day when you had time. It doesn't really work that way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work that way. So, Carol, I'm curious, now that you've worn your wish beads, your wish has quote unquote come true. Are you ready to wish again to see what?
I am. I have another wish here. I'm not ready to share exactly what it is yet.
Okay, good.
Because this one's more personal about me. And so, but I'm wearing it and I'm reminded of it daily. My husband also has one. And
I love that.
And maybe it's a guy thing, but he had no problem processing. Like, he opened up the box, he wrote down his wish, he knew exactly what he wanted. He didn't have to percolate for months like I did to say, am I going to get my wish right? But it's something that we both believe those wishes are going to come true.
I love that. I just love that. And I so thank you for being just a huge supporter and a dear friend. And I am so honored that I get to give back to your GirlUp teens. And I just told you this in an email, but I shipped off a box of Wishbead kits to one of your clubs in the United States, and the girls are going to do it. And it's super exciting, because I do believe that, when I was a 13-year-old girl, I would have loved to learn more of the things that are more readily available now, like visualization, like the power of positive thoughts, and taking small action steps towards what you want, because everybody deserves to have their wishes come true. And wishes do take a little bit of work, and there is some good habits that you can cultivate and be made aware of, so that, you can unlock the magic that is already inside of you. Wish beads are not magic. They're just a reminder for you to know how magic you are. Like, that's all. And
I love that.
So it'll be fun to see what together we can cook up with GirlUp in the future.
All right. Well, looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yes. All right. Well, Carol, keep on keeping on. We will do a part 2 to this podcast when you are ready to tell me that your next wish came true.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
All right. Keep on keeping on, my friend. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
All right. Thanks so much.